Hello there, Commonwealth from here. Zelda series producer Eiji Aonuma did not show up in any Nintendo upload or presentation in 2025, but in 2026, the year of Zelda's 40th anniversary, it is pretty much confirmed that we will see him again. The question though is, with what game/games? Could it be the same as when he last showed up in 2024, the reveal of a brand new 2D Zelda game? It is a possibility, as we don't know how long Zreo had Echoes of Wisdom ready. After all, Tears of the Kingdom was delayed from 2022 to 2023, so maybe Echoes of Wisdom was already ready 3 years ago. If that was the case, then that could mean 3 years of development, and we know that Aonuma has confirmed more new 2D Zelda. The Legend of Zelda franchise started top-down 40 years ago, and celebrating that with the reveal and release of a brand new top-down game with a hero in green could very well be the best way to do it. It could be a full adventure or a Zelda Maker, much like Mario's 30th anniversary was celebrated with Super Mario Maker. With that said, all anniversary releases after 2001 have been 3D games. New ones in 2006 and 2011. But with the 25th anniversary, we also saw a turn to remakes/remasters. Ocarina 3D for the 25th, Twilight Princess HD for the 30th, and Skyward Sword HD for the 35th. Naturally, we would prefer a brand new game to launch, but it is simply too soon after Tears of the Kingdom, so the only hope for a brand new 3D Zelda game is likely a smaller 3D. But that is even less likely than a new 2D Zelda, since it would require a brand new team. Hence, the biggest bet right now for the Zelda 40th anniversary is another 3D remake for yet another anniversary. The only issue is that Nintendo has no more 3D games to remake or remaster for the first time, leaving them with only one option of a prior remake or remaster. Ocarina of Time returning bigger and grander than ever. The royal and ultimate remake, concluding the near 30 years of this epic that to this day remains the highest rated game on Metacritic. A restoration and modernization that will stand the test of time. Rumors have been rampant about this possibility for years, but gained new momentum with Nash Wheedle's tease in May 2025, pointing to 3 details that yes, it is under development, Nintendo is in charge of it, and that it will not release in 2025. So here we are in 2026, and also a statement that Monolith Soft's Kyoto branch might be destined for more than just a supporting role for the Kyoto Zelda team's open-air Zelda games. Since back in December 2025, Zelda series general manager Daiki Iwamoto had this to say, quote, "Monolith Soft is a strong partner in creating Zelda games from scratch, so I would like them to take on more and more core parts of the franchise. Based on the know-how we have cultivated through working together until now, let's further raise the team strength of Monolith Soft as a whole and continue to create unique series titles together." End quote. A hint towards development of their own Zelda project, now that Zreo has been destined to make new 2D games or 2D games in general. But first, this new Zelda team needs to be tested just like Zreo was in 2011 with the remake, Ocarina of Time. This game loves to return, but as of 2026, 15 years have passed since the last great upgrade on the Nintendo 3DS. A version that was brilliant, but due to being in 240p and other limitations, has not aged the way a final version of this game deserves. Hence the desire, and more so need, for a remake, when I can finally give this game the controls it deserves by adding dual analog camera controls and bring the experience beyond 1080p, preferably upscaled 4K and 60 frames per second. The remake might also take advantage of the Breath and Tears game engine, which both Nintendo and Monolith Soft Kyoto know so well. Naturally, the reward for delivering a worthy Ultimate Ocarina equals potentially 10+ million copies sold. Yes, the best out of all the Ocarina releases. Likewise, the pressure with such a project is immense, since there's so much that can be overhauled within the game itself after leaving Kokiri Forest as Child Link. From expanding and adding more to Hyrule Field, removing all loading screens open air style when moving from region to region, or into Castle Town for that matter. A place that could also evolve from a collection of painted backgrounds into a proper 3D town without loading screens, Breath of the Wild style. Expanded to match the full town found in the official printed 3D map from 1998. Still, we're only talking about the child section before pulling the Master Sword, as the adult section could equally see upgrades, from allowing Epona to go into bigger parts of the map, but more so giving a big bonus in the dungeon department. Since, based on interviews and rediscovered files, we know that at least 2 cut concepts, were spread out across the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Wind and light. Personally, I believe that restoring the Wind Temple has little purpose, as the Forest Temple is there to represent green, as well as a Zelda dungeon can. But the case is very different for the missing Temple of Light, which has no replacement. Right here we find the key reason for a new remake to complete the temple circle. All of this, and that is still before mentioning the potential such a remake could be for restarting the 3D cycle with Majora, the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess later down the line. Needless to say, Ocarina of Time is the by far most logical candidate, but far from the only one to be the main 3D Zelda release in 2026, since the Super Mario 40th anniversary has shown that two classics can be bundled together. Super Mario Galaxy 1 plus 2. Well, there have for a generation now been speculation of a The Wind Waker plus Twilight Princess bundle, something that we also have made clear in this thumbnail. But will it happen this year? Many have said that 2026 is the last chance, especially with the Wind Waker already on GameCube, Nintendo Switch Online. That one is definitely not the best version of one of the best Zelda games, but it is one that complicates things. Since yes, we might see Twilight Princess at some point on Nintendo Switch 2, but it might not be the way we desire unless we get a Wind plus Twilight bundle. Personally, I'm afraid that the Wind Waker Online might be a sign that GameCube Zelda will be limited to Switch 2 Online. That is to say, Wind Waker, Forza's Adventures as a multiplayer Zelda, perfect for online multiplayer, and Twilight Princess. At the same time, I would love to be wrong and have a full-on Twilight overhaul for its 20th anniversary, but I would prefer Ocarina, as that one is not aging well, and it's also the more natural starting point if you're gonna do the remakes once again. Okay, but what about 2026 Zelda Switch 2 edition? 2025 was Breath and Tears, so this year could be Skyward Sword HD. The game is already in 1080p 60 FPS docked, but it is capable of even higher resolutions on the Switch 2. At the same time, this alone would only warrant a free upgrade, as we saw with Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom last year. But it could become a Switch 2 edition if new content is added. One hot tip has been Zelda's Playable Adventure, or Journey, that was cut out from the original game and placed in the credits cutscene. Zelda of Skyloft going through Faron and Eldin and 2 dungeons, that could be exactly how Skyward becomes a Switch 2 edition. A perfect way to celebrate the first Zelda in the timeline. Then you have the matter of remakes, but 2D, as we haven't had one since Link's Awakening in 2019. 7 years this year. But with Grezzo now making new top-down games, it is more unclear than ever who could be handling future 2D remakes from the first 20 years of the franchise. One answer could be that Nintendo tasked Grezzo to do it before they make their next new 2D Zelda game. Mike Odyssey has been pushing Grezzo's 2015 multiplayer Triforce Heroes due to a trademark renewal, but I disagree. For one, it's a trademark renewal, and on the other, A Link Between Worlds is a far more fitting release from the 3DS. Hence, I think if we're getting a 2D remake, it will be a different title, one that deserves a second chance. The Capcom Oracle games have been long rumored, but already in the title there is a massive obstacle. 2 games, which means double the effort and development time even in the 2D Switch engine. Naturally, they were originally the Zelda 15th anniversary Game Boy Color games, but it is just that it isn't one game that makes this near impossible to handle. A better fit in this regard would be the Minish Cap. One of the best top-down Zelda games with an original villain and the early stage of the Kingdom of Hyrule, with town before it became the proper castle town we know and love in Ocarina of Time. And most importantly, this game is a love child of Zelda director Hidemaru Fujibayashi from his time at Capcom. In other words, a Skyward Sword HD Switch 2 edition, so the start of the timeline as Link, and Minish Cap remake combo to continue it could be the perfect Zelda 40th combo. A lot of possibilities, even before we start talking about paid DLC after the free updates for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Paid expansion for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity was revealed right before Skyward Sword HD in the same February 2021 Nintendo Direct. Perhaps this is how we finally get to play as both Gerudo and Demon King Ganondorf in this 2025 game. Here is hope. The last thing that could be on the menu is something that will not be released this year. The next open-air Zelda game. A reveal is on the table. Why? As it is over 3 years after the launch of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We are halfway there. We need a brand new drive and excitement for a franchise, and this is exactly how it is done. But this video was about the games we can get and play in 2026, so be sure to share your list in the comments below. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press notification bell, and last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and to all our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to Raw Producer, Jonathan, and Heroes, Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf, and Kintaro. You rock, and please enjoy these awesome videos.